All right, guys. So I bought me a new 4-bay QNAP NAS. Now I've got a Synology DS213, which is a 2-bay NAS. I've had it for probably 8 years. And before that, I had another Synology 2-bay NAS. I can't remember what the model number of that one was, but it's time to upgrade to some serious storage and a lot more processing power. So a NAS is network attached storage, but it's a lot more than just storage. You can run a website from it. You can run a Plex server or a media server. Obviously, you can store files on it. You can use it as its own computer. This particular NAS does have a HDMI port, so you can plug a monitor into this and actually use it as a little computer. It's got two 2.5G Ethernet ports. It's got the fast. I can't remember the spec number of this USB, and the USB on front are the 3.0, I think, or 3.2 or something. I think 10G, and then I think these are whatever the slower ones are. These two USB ports. Anyway, this is a 4-bay QNAP NAS. I'm going to be putting these 4 18TB drives in it. I've got two 2TB M.2 SSD drives. These are the Samsung 990 Pros. Now, these are a lot faster than what this NAS is going to be able to use, but these should still work just fine. And I'm going to also be upgrading. This is an 8 gig. This comes with 8 gig memory. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade it to 16. Now, I have seen some people claim that they have put 32 and even 64 gig in this particular NAS, and it at least reports it as such. If anybody knows for sure if it's capable of utilizing that full amount, because when you look at the Celeron spec sheet, it says that it can only utilize 8 or 16 gig of memory. Now, for the people putting 32 and 64 in, if you have been able to verify that it actually is able to use that much, I'd like to know, because I'd probably be interested in upgrading. I bought this 16 gig kit because it says that 16 gig is the max that this QNAP can see. So I'm going to open this up, and we're going to start this upgrade. We're going to start putting all the goodies in it. I also want to show you that there's a lot of controversy as to whether the 8 gig TS-464 is even upgradable. So let me see if I can get in here. Let me get a light. All right, so I got a light here, and as you can see that there's a removable 8 gig memory stick right there, and there's another socket for another memory stick. So this is the 8 gig version, and it is upgradable. So that's what we're going to do. I hadn't even booted this up, installed anything on it. This is going to be straight out of the box. Now, there's controversy over whether the 8 gig, like I was saying, whether the 8 gig was even upgradable or not. Apparently, some 8 gig 464s had soldered on memory, and you couldn't upgrade anything from there. You only had 8 gig. From what I've read, apparently that was due to the whole COVID deal, and whenever microchips and everything was hard to get, and luckily things have starting to change to where they're able to get what they need to be able to get our goodies all built and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get this memory out of here, and I'll try to film as much as I can. We're also going to be putting, those SSDs in, and you can see one of the sockets there, and then there's another one right there, right where that 2 says. So, not sure how good I'm going to be able to film this, but I'll give it my best shot. Okay, there's a little lever. They had tape on this for warranty purposes, and apparently I just voided the warranty by doing this, so hope you guys appreciate that. And this is what, hopefully that's coming through. Transcend 8 gig DDR4. So I'll take a picture of that so that you guys can get a nice clear view of it. Now this memory is a lot faster. It goes up to 3200, but that should still work. It's supposed to be backward compatible, so as long as you put faster memory in, you should be able to get the full speed of what the device is capable of handling. So let me kind of make sure it's seated where it needs to go, and when you push down, the little clips will hold it in. And again, this is the memory that I'm putting in it. 2 of these right here. And I'll put links. Okay, memory's installed. Let me get the SSDs ready. Okay, here's the SSDs. Each one of these are 2 terabyte. These are by Samsung. You can get these with and without the heatsink. I'm hoping that these heat sinks will not be so big that I can't get these to fit in here. Just to kind of give you an idea of how thick the heat sink is. So we're going to see what we can do. Now the heat sink, or the SSD, this first one needs to go right in here. And I've heard people say that you got to take this whole thing apart, but I'm hoping that's not the case. Although this is seeming to be kind of tight. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I've got that pushed into the slot. Now, all you got to do, I hope. Yeah, there we go. Push that down just like that. No, I don't know if you even saw that, but so now let's try to get this one here in. Again, I'll try to do the best I can so you can see. There it is. Looks like they both fit. Now, and just so you know, I laid that on its side so that I could kind of maneuver my hand in there. So now for the hard drives, they're even easier than that. And then we'll load the software or the operating system and see how that goes. And again, this is a Western Digital Red Pro NAS hard drive. 18 terabytes. Now you're supposed to take these little side clips off, but I don't think you actually have to do that. What you do have to do is make sure your plugs are going the right direction. And it should lock in. Make sure the side trays are clipped in real nice. I'm going to go ahead and pull this plastic off. Make sure that clicks in. Whenever you push these in, when it gets to about right there and it starts to engage the plug, it should go a little bit farther and you should feel it solidly click in. Okay, got the plug. And there that one is. So this should, oh, forgot that plastic. This should give me more than enough storage. I'm sure I'll probably die before I need to upgrade the storage ever again. And again, if you want to do this correctly, these little side deals right here just literally snap off. And here's the little studs that go into the little holes for the hard drive. The thing is, and you can do this, you're supposed to snap these off, put the hard drive in, and snap them back on. There's enough flex in these to where you don't actually have to do that. As you can see, it's that easy. Now, one other thing I want to touch on, because I've heard people in the forums and on YouTube comment on this. A lot of people are worried about the cooling. And I'll tell you why you don't need to be. First, let me get this plastic off here, because what I was originally going to do was I was going to use my laser cutter, and I was going to cut me some vent holes in here. But QNAP actually thought pretty good on this. So you've got a nice, I think these are 120 millimeter fans right here, and it's blowing out. You've got a vent up here in the top that's going to pull air in. Now you remember the motherboard was right here on the side. So you got vents right here that's going to pull air in and right down the side of that motherboard to keep it cool. Now as far as the hard drives, you've got vents right here. So cool air is going to come up through the bottom. So you want to make sure that this isn't sitting on like a blanket or a rug or anything. Make sure it's sitting on something flat so that you've got a gap underneath it, because cool air is going to come in from the bottom, and as it's being drug all along the sides of the hard drives to exit out the back, that's what cools the hard drives. So keep that in mind. The cooling, I don't think, is going to be an issue at all. Some people thought it was because there's no vents in the front, and they just thought that the front, whenever the front's on, it was too restrictive. I don't think it's going to be at all. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Now, to put this on, the only concern that I actually have with this, and it's probably not, I'm sure they know, you know, whether this is going to be an issue, is there's actually two little magnets right here, and there's some metal right here, and the way this goes on, whenever you put this on, you see that? The magnets hold it, kind of couple it in place, and then you got a little lock right here that you flip up to lock it on. Now, I've never really liked the idea of having magnets anywhere close to actual physical hard drives. Maybe these magnets are low strength enough and far enough away to where it's not even going to be an issue, but it's just something to think about. Anyway, I'm going to go get this thing plugged in. All right, so we're here on my desktop, and there's an app called QFinder Pro that you download from QNAP's website. It's by far the easiest way to set up your NAS for the first time. What it does is it searches your network for a QNAP device, and any QNAP devices that it finds, it will list here. So here's the TS-464. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to highlight the QNAP device that I want to install the OS on, which is the only one that's listed here. I'm going to hit configuration. And you can check the warranty or whatever. I'm going to hit close. And then I'm going to hit start smart installation. Specify firmware version. Let's check to see if there's any updates. Okay, looks like there is an update. So I'm going to go ahead and update it to the latest firmware. And I'm going to fast forward through this so you don't have to sit through it. All right, enter the NAS name.
Okay, go to NAS management. We're going to log in.
All right, so I got QTS installed. After I updated the firmware, it went pretty smooth. I had to kind of do a little fumbling around to get things figured out. So here's the what they call the control panel. There's the firmware version, which is the latest firmware. CPU, memory, serial number of the unit. So let's go here into let's go into hardware, system status. So you can see right here, this is the TS-464. There is total memory 16 gigabytes, so it does recognize the full 16 gigs. 15 gig as usable for whatever reason. I'm not sure why that is. There again, there's the firmware version, the uptime coming up on an hour. Let's go here to hardware. CPU usage is currently at about 4.5%. There's total memory of 16 gig, again 15 gigabyte usable with 13 gigabyte free at the moment. There's both the slots, 8 gig slots or filled with crucial memory. There's the CPU temp of the unit. Here's the system temp of the unit. Then both SSD drives, and then the 4 SATA hard drives. That's the one that's closest to the motherboard. So it's running a little bit hotter than the other 3 SATA drives. Kind of nice that they give you all these temperatures of everything. PSU status is ready, and then of course got the fan RPM going. But anyway, this thing's running good. I've got the QVR Pro, which is their surveillance system software, so I can keep track of all my cameras, and all the video is constantly being recorded to the unit. I use it as a file server. I also use it as a movie server. I run Plex. You can see the Plex app right here. Amongst other things, you know, like I say, a file server. If I need to send files to a coworker or to a friend, I can easily do that. Instead of having my own personal cloud like a Google Cloud or a iCloud, I have my own cloud. That way it's not on anybody else's system except mine. All this storage is mine right here in my home. And that's what this is mainly all about. Anyway, and you can go here to the App Center, and this is all the apps. So let me click all apps. You can see all these different apps that you can install on this unit. And there's apps that's not even listed on this screen right here. You can actually download third-party apps and install on this. So here's QTS Essentials. This is actually by QNAP. This is everything QNAP has. Got recommended. Here's partners. And then they've got them categorized right here, you know, depending on what you're looking for. Anyway, just a quick little rundown of the QNAP TS-464. So far it's running like a champ. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, that's about it, fellas. If you guys are looking for a network attached storage, this unit is rock solid so far, and very functional. Just a quick look at my setup here. So I've got my router up top here, and then I've got my old 2-bay Synology Diskstation right here, and then I've got the new QNAP right here. Now I'm going to end up retiring this one. This one will be gone before too long. Once I finally get all the files transferred that I want from this one over to this one, then this one will be shut down, and I'll either sell it or I don't know what I'll do with it. But anyway, just a quick look at the setup that I've got here.